The internet is combusting again, and this time it's not because someone tried to deep fry a ring light or argue with Siri. No, today's chaos comes straight from the Blueface cinematic universe, where Karlissa has officially detonated like a microwave full of metal after hearing Chrisean might be dabbling in something she called voodoo. And trust me, this isn't your usual mother-in-law meltdown. This is the kind of drama that makes the Kardashians look like monks at a silent retreat sipping herbal tea. The moment the allegation dropped, timelines split open like a cracked phone screen. People were whispering, screaming, theorizing, and running through comments like Black Friday shoppers. Because when Mama Karlissa gets triggered, the earth shakes, the Wi-Fi trembles, and the group chat lights up like Times Square on a sugar rush. She didn't just react, she erupted, scorched, and torched everything in her path with the enthusiasm of someone finally finding the remote after hours of searching. Now we've got Chrisean confused, the internet entertained, and Karlissa preaching like she's hosting a late-night paranormal special. Receipts are flying, accusations are spinning, and the messiness is thicker than Zeus Network's editing budget. And if you thought this was already insane, oh no, this story is brewing like a cursed potion. And we're just warming up. The moment the rumor surfaced that Chrisean might be involved in something Karlissa labeled voodoo, the internet reacted like someone plugged the entire timeline into a faulty power outlet. 1 second, everything was normal chaos. The next, it felt like a spiritual hurricane hit Twitter, TikTok, and every blog that thrives on celebrity confusion. People weren't just watching, they were running toward the mess with popcorn, flashlights, magnifying glasses, and energy drinks like this was a supernatural emergency. And at the center of the storm stood Karlissa, already warming up her voice like she was about to deliver the rant of the decade. She didn't ease into it or wait for confirmation. She launched headfirst into accusations with the passion of someone who just found out her favorite soap opera character got replaced. According to her, Chrisean wasn't just problematic, she was dabbling in dark arts like a freshman witch who skipped orientation. Karlissa claimed strange things were happening, odd coincidences were lining up, and Blueface's misfortune had supernatural fingerprints all over it. Her tone was so serious that people wondered if she secretly spent the night watching conspiracy documentaries instead of sleeping. And once Karlissa started talking, the internet stood at attention. She said Chrisean had weird habits, odd patterns, and energy she didn't trust, which immediately sent fans into detective mode. People began digging through old clips, analyzing body language, dissecting jewelry, and hunting for anything that could remotely resemble a crystal, candle, or aroma from a candle store. Suddenly, everyone was a spiritual specialist, offering opinions with the confidence of someone holding a PhD in internet witchcraft studies. Chrisean, of course, was unbothered at first, because being accused of voodoo on social media is just a regular weekday in her world. She laughed at the claims, brushed them off, and treated the scandal like another episode in the never-ending Blueface saga. But the more Karlissa talked, the louder the internet got, turning this simple accusation into a digital wildfire. Memes started rolling in before Chrisean could even refresh her notifications. People joked that she was mixing potions in the studio or levitating her snacks during interviews. Karlissa, fully committed to the storyline, said she felt something off for months, which only added fuel to the flames. Fans began pulling up every argument, every weird moment, every coincidence from 2023 to now and labeling it as evidence. Someone even edited a video of Chrisean walking with a windy overlay and captioned it, "When she summons the ancestors for direction, TikTok dramatists took over instantly," adding dramatic sound effects and storytelling so intense it could convince you your own neighbor was casting spells. The mess got even bigger when Karlissa doubled down, saying she had spiritual intuition. She claimed mothers always know when something dark is happening around their family. She said the energy around Blueface shifted, his behavior changed, and certain events didn't add up. And the internet did what it does best. It ran with the nonsense like it was gospel. Suddenly, users were posting theories with diagrams, arrows, And blurry screenshots like this was the Da Vinci Code but sponsored by Zeus Network. At this point, Chrisean realized the situation wasn't just a trending moment, it was escalating into a full mythology. People were tagging her in videos asking if she owned candles, sage crystals, tarot cards, or a suspiciously decorative necklace. She clapped back with humor, saying the only magic she practiced was making men angry without trying. Her sarcasm made the internet scream, because if anyone could turn a scandal into a comedy special, it was her. And the comment section ate it up like free food at a public event. Meanwhile, Karlissa wasn't slowing down. She claimed she had proof, though the proof was mostly vibes, suspicion, and spiritual math that didn't add up. She started listing signs she believed pointed toward witchcraft, including mood changes, sudden arguments, unexplained drama, and emotional chaos. Fans rolled their eyes because, let's be honest, those signs fit everyone in the Blueface ecosystem. But Karlissa insisted her intuition was never wrong, even though it famously has a 50-50 its track record at best. The internet couldn't control itself. People made entire threads compiling every dramatic moment Karlissa ever had with Chrisean, editing them together like a documentary titled Voodoo, the reality show nobody asked for. Others joked that Karlissa was trying to get ahead of her own mess by blaming spiritual forces instead of admitting her family thrives on chaos naturally. The memes were ruthless, the jokes were sharp, and the whole situation felt like a supernatural circus running on caffeine and ego. Chrisean finally responded seriously, saying the accusations were ridiculous and rooted in jealousy. She reminded everyone that Karlissa had blamed her for everything except the weather and taxes. She said Karlissa was looking for a storyline and found one in the most dramatic corner of her imagination. Her tone was blunt, confident, and dripping with a mix of annoyance and "girl, stop reaching." Fans sided with her instantly because they knew Karlissa's accusations always come with maximum volume and minimum logic. But what truly ignited the drama was the fact that people believed just enough of the rumor to keep it trending. Folks who don't even follow the family started chiming in, offering commentary like they were personally affected by the alleged voodoo energy. Spiritual influencers jumped in too, explaining the difference between voodoo, hoodoo, witchcraft, manifestation, candle rituals, and everyday dramatics. Everyone was suddenly a teacher, even though half the people talking barely knew what sage was used for. As the scandal heated up, bloggers began digging deeper into Karlissa's claims. Some said she was playing the victim again. Others argued she was exaggerating to stay relevant in her son's drama-filled storyline. A few suggested she was projecting because the Blueface universe was collapsing faster than a folding chair at a family reunion. Regardless of the angle, the coverage was wild and nonstop, and Karlissa didn't let up. She went on tangents, rants, mini-sermons, and long-winded emotional speeches, each one more dramatic than the last. She said she wasn't scared of witchcraft, but she wasn't tolerating it either. She said she was protecting her family spiritually, emotionally, and theatrically. Her energy was so intense people joked she should host a paranormal podcast titled Karlissa vs. Everybody. By now, the drama wasn't just trending, it was cemented in digital history. The accusations, the reactions, the jokes, the confusion, the spiritual debates, everything blended into a chaotic masterpiece. And everyone could feel that the story wasn't finished. Something bigger was coming, and Karlissa was preparing for round two like she was about to step into a boxing ring filled with incense and drama. The voodoo allegations were just the opening act. The real explosion was still building. The second this scandal hit phase 2, the internet transformed into a supernatural battleground where everyone suddenly believed they were experts in spirits, energy cleansing, and candle magic. TikTok was overflowing with creators breaking down Karlissa's claims like scholars analyzing ancient scriptures. Some swore they saw signs of sorcery in Chrisean's old lives. Others insisted Karlissa was confusing vibes with vitamins, and memes started multiplying at a speed that could make rabbits jealous. The drama had officially evolved into a cultural event with its own soundtrack, fan theories, and subplots. Things escalated when a clip resurfaced showing Chrisean lighting a candle during a rant. It was clearly an ordinary scented candle, probably from a discount aisle, but that didn't stop the internet from turning it into evidence. People edited slow-motion zoom-ins with thunder sound effects, acting like they discovered footage of a forbidden ritual. The comments were out of control. Some joked that the candle was a summoning device. Others said she was just trying to make the room smell less like heartbreak and chaos. But the hysteria was so loud even the candle itself deserved a shout-out for going viral. Karlissa, seeing the internet's reaction, went even harder. She claimed she didn't trust anything involving flames, crystals, or unexplained calmness. She said Chrisean had private practices and energy shifts that didn't sit right with her spirit. She even hinted that certain arguments and mood swings felt unnatural, which made people scream with laughter because there's nothing natural about any argument in the Blueface universe. It's always extra, always loud, always chaotic, and always in need of subtitles. But the real twist came when bloggers started analyzing Karlissa's statements from a psychological angle. Some said she was deflecting. Others said she was exaggerating for clout. A few suggested she was stirring the pot for entertainment value because Karlissa loves a spotlight almost as much as she loves a dramatic monologue. Their breakdowns went viral too, adding layers to a story that already had more complications than a reality show reunion episode. Meanwhile, Chrisean took advantage of the chaos and started trolling the situation with expert precision. She posted videos laughing at the claims, clapping her hands, and joking that the only spell she knows is making grown men cry without trying. Her humor hit the timeline like a fresh meme drop. People stitched her videos, reenacted her reactions, and turned her quotes into captions. She became the comedic hero of a witchcraft-themed scandal she didn't even sign up for. Blueface eventually wandered into the storyline like a confused character who missed half the script. He threw out a few vague comments, pretending to take the high road while clearly enjoying the attention. Fans dragged him instantly, calling him out for acting lost when he was the one who created the original tension. His involvement was so minimal yet so chaotic that everyone agreed he should have stayed silent. But Blueface being calm is as rare as a solar eclipse in the middle of a thunderstorm. As the story spread, even celebrities who weren't involved started reacting. Influencers posted spiritual cleansing tutorials inspired by today's news. Few rappers made jokes about staying prayed up. One reality star even claimed they felt the energy shift through the screen, which made thousands of people roll their eyes into the next galaxy. It was a masterclass in clout chasing disguised as concern. The memes got worse in the funniest way possible. Someone edited Chrisean into a Harry Potter scene wearing wizard robes. Another person made a fake spellbook titled How to Deal with Blueface, Beginner's Edition. But the most viral one showed Karlissa dramatically pointing at a candle like she was identifying the main suspect in a crime documentary. People laughed so hard the meme had to be reposted across multiple platforms just to keep up with its demand. The situation spiraled again when a blogger claimed Chrisean owned crystals. That alone unleashed chaos because half the internet uses crystals daily and the other half pretends to understand them. Karlissa used it as fresh ammo, saying she knew something felt witchy. The blog didn't even show proof, but the rumor spread like a gas leak near a spark. Suddenly, every photo of Chrisean wearing jewelry was dissected like it held ancient secrets. And just when things couldn't get any more chaotic, a new twist arrived. Someone leaked an old clip of Chrisean talking about protecting her energy. That simple phrase sent social media into full exorcism mode. Spiritual TikTok began debating whether she meant metaphysically, emotionally, or magically, while Twitter joked that she was simply protecting herself from Blueface's entire family tree. It was madness, but highly entertaining madness. Karlissa then took her rant to another level. Claiming she felt spiritually attacked, she said she had dreams, intuition, signs, and emotional turbulence that pointed to unseen forces. She spoke like she was narrating the intro to a paranormal reality show, and the internet couldn't take it seriously even if it tried. People joked she was auditioning for a role on Ghost Hunters. Others said she needed to close TikTok after midnight. But she stayed locked in, convinced she had uncovered the supernatural truth of the decade. Chrisean responded again, this time with more sarcasm than a shady group chat. She told everyone she barely had time for drama, let alone witchcraft. She said she didn't need spells to shake someone's spirit. The truth alone did that. Fans screamed at the accuracy. Even people who disliked her admitted the line hit harder than a diss track. It became a trending quote for hours, turned into wallpapers, merch concepts, and motivational memes. As this saw the spread across platforms, the public began forming factions. Some believed Karlissa genuinely thought she uncovered spiritual manipulation. Others insisted she was performing her usual dramatic routine. And a smaller group believed both women were trolling each other for entertainment, creating a show that made Zeus Network look like a children's cartoon. No one knew the truth, but everyone agreed they didn't want it to end. Then came the moment that flipped everything upside down. A fan posted a compilation video of Karlissa contradicting her own spiritual claims over the years. It included clips of her embracing horoscopes, manifestation, energy talk, and even sage. People lost it instantly. They said Karlissa accidentally exposed herself as the real mystic. The jokes were ruthless. Memes compared her to a chaotic sage-wielding auntie who always blames spirits for things she caused herself. The chaos reached maximum level when a spiritual influencer stepped in, analyzing both women with the seriousness of a courtroom judge. They declared neither woman was practicing anything dark. They were just dramatic, emotional, and surrounded by tension. This explanation didn't calm anything down. It only inspired more jokes about Karlissa launching a supernatural war based entirely on guesswork and vibes. And through this entire mess, one thing became clear. The drama wasn't going away. It was expanding, mutating, and evolving into something bigger, stranger, and more unhinged than anyone expected. And the internet. It was eating every second of it like a buffet with unlimited refills. The Voodoo allegations weren't the finale. They were the warm-up act for the real storm brewing. As the scandal entered its final act, the internet stopped treating it like a trending topic and started treating it like a full-season reality show with supernatural side quests. Everyone wanted to know what would happen next, because Karlissa wasn't calming down and Chrisean sure wasn't backing off. The tension was so thick you could spread it on toast. And right when people assumed the drama might be slowing down, Karlissa popped up again. Louder than a fire alarm in a microwave accident. This time she claimed she had spiritual confirmation that something was off. She said signs were coming to her in dreams, in conversations, and even in coincidences she swore weren't coincidences. The internet collectively sighed because Karlissa's version of a sign could be anything from a gust of wind to a misplaced sock. But she was serious, pacing through her monologues like a preacher mixing caffeine with chaos. She said she wasn't afraid of voodoo, but she wasn't tolerating it either. Even though nobody actually proved anything was happening in the first place, Chrisean watched this unfold with the exhausted expression of someone who's seen every kind of nonsense thrown her way. She laughed at the new accusations, saying she couldn't take a woman seriously who changed her storyline every other week like she was flipping through TV channels. She pointed out how quickly Karlissa shifted from blaming her for Blueface's drama to accusing her of having supernatural influence. And the audience agreed Karlissa loved a plot twist more than a Netflix scriptwriter who just discovered caffeine. The internet began dissecting every moment between the two women, pulling up old clips where they argued, hugged through shade, and tried to communicate through chaos. Fans joked they needed a psychologist, a pastor, and a paranormal investigator to decode their relationship. Even people who had no idea who Karlissa was before this scandal now acted like they'd been studying her behavior for years. Everyone was invested, confused, and entertained. Then came the unexpected reversal. Some fans started feeling bad for both of them. They said the family tension was spiraling out of control and turning into something far bigger than anyone intended. They argued the voodoo accusation wasn't just messy, it was dangerous. They said adding spirituality to a feud was like pouring gasoline on a candle. It didn't matter, though, because the public was already deep in the chaos, and nobody wanted to close the tab. Karlissa, sensing the attention, pushed the narrative harder. She talked about her intuition, her protective instincts, and her belief that certain energies didn't belong near her family. But the internet reminded her that her family's chaos was built-in, not imported. They said blaming Chrisean was like blaming the umbrella for the thunderstorm. It didn't make sense, but it made drama. And that was the goal for half the people involved. Chrisean responded again, this time with more confidence and precision. She said people always blamed her for things she didn't do because she was the easiest person to target. She said the world loved painting her as the villain, even when she had nothing to do with the disaster unfolding. She told fans she didn't believe in messing with anyone spiritually because real life kept her busy enough. Her honesty hit harder than expected, and people started warming up to her even more. Meanwhile, fans began combining the scandal with humor, creating parody trailers, fake movie posters, and comic-style recaps titled The Voodoo Chronicles, Blueface Family Edition. One edit showed Karlissa dramatically swinging sage like a lightsaber. Another depicted Chrisean levitating Blueface with invisible powers. It was chaotic, hilarious, and so iconic that even people outside the hip-hop world were sharing the memes. Blogs continued pumping out content non-stop. They criticized Karlissa for escalating things without proof. They praised Chrisean for handling the situation with humor instead of rage. They questioned Blueface's silence, saying he avoided responsibility like it was an unpaid bill. And they highlighted how quickly the rumor spiraled from a comment to a multi-platform meltdown. Then something surprising happened. Blueface finally addressed the situation. His explanation was confusing, contradictory, and delivered with the emotional clarity of a car alarm. He said he didn't believe in voodoo, didn't think anything supernatural was happening, and didn't understand why his mom was making the situation spiritual when the real issues were human. People were shocked because it was one of the few times he actually sounded grounded. But of course, within minutes, he contradicted himself again, proving consistency was not his brand. Karlissa, irritated by her own son's clarity, doubled down once more. She claimed people weren't going to gaslight her out of her intuition. She said she knew what she felt, what she saw, and what she sensed. But the internet wasn't convinced. Instead, they said she was mixing drama with spirituality like a bad smoothie recipe. Fans joked that she needed a nap, a hug, and a long vacation away from social media. Chrisean closed out the argument with one final message that hit harder than the rest. She said people use spirituality as a shield when they're afraid to confront their own behavior. She said she wasn't responsible for anyone's misfortune and wasn't entertaining baseless accusations from people who barely took accountability for their own chaos. Her words spread everywhere, gaining traction because they sounded less like a clapback and more like a reality check. As the dust began to settle, the internet reflected on the chaos with the same tone people use when stepping out of a roller coaster, dizzy, shocked, but low-key wanting to ride again. The scandal didn't resolve anything. It just proved how messy, dramatic, and unpredictable the Blueface Karlissa Chrisean triangle always is. Everyone walked away with scratches, emotionally, spiritually, and publicly. Karlissa looked like a warrior who fought invisible forces. Chrisean looked like someone who refused to be dragged into another circus. And Blueface looked like a man who wanted to disappear into a couch cushion until the noise died down. The world watched, laughed, debated, and bookmarked the drama, knowing another explosion was probably lurking right around the corner, because that's the truth about this family. The drama doesn't end. It just changes costumes. And if you survived that roller coaster without needing holy water, congratulations, you are officially built for this level of celebrity chaos. Before you run off to sage your timeline or laugh at another meme, make sure you smash that like button like you're trying to break a generational curse. Drop a comment telling me whose reaction shocked you the most, because trust me, I'm reading them the way Karlissa reads signs from the universe. Subscribe to, because around here, the scandals don't walk, they sprint, tumble, explode. and drag each other across the internet like a full contact sport. If you blink, you're going to miss Karlissa accusing a thundercloud of bad vibes or Chrisean calling out someone else for blaming her spiritual energy for their own mess. This channel is like a drama GPS, always recalculating, never calm, and forever rerouting toward the next disaster. Turn those notifications on before Karlissa senses something else, or Chrisean drops another line that becomes a meme within 10 minutes. This is the only spot where celebrity nonsense gets dissected with sarcasm sharper than a shade room comment, humor bolder than Karlissa's confidence, and storytelling wilder than a Zeus Network season finale. So stay locked in, stay tuned, stay unbothered and entertained, because this circus, it never shuts down. It just opens new tents, celeb SYNC, where the drama comes to get documented.